So, for anyone who watched my review of Annabelle Creation, I mentioned in that vlog that I wanted to do Halloween-themed movie review videos each October, and this is going to be the second one for this year. It's somewhat Halloween-themed, although I do have some difficulty describing the precise genre this is supposed to fall under. Venom is a character originally from the Spider-Man comics and franchise. You remember a version of the Venom character appeared in the Spider-Man 3 film that so many people despised for some very understandable reasons. It is true that the character's actions in that movie are very inconsistent, and I do wish they had not had a Goblin character so soon after the first movie was all about the Green Goblin. But as a whole, that movie's story is not the worst. It just really suffers from inconsistency and dark Spider-Man coming off as really more of a jerk than any true definition of villainous, but well, nothing to do about it now. The Spider-Man movies themselves have been completely rebooted. This past weekend, I was helping out. So, for anyone who watched my review of Annabelle Creation, I mentioned in that vlog that I wanted to do Halloween-themed movie review videos each October, and this is going to be the second one for this year. It's somewhat Halloween-themed, although I do have some difficulty describing the precise genre this is supposed to fall under. Venom is a character originally from the Spider-Man comics and franchise. You remember a version of the Venom character appeared in the Spider-Man 3 film that so many people despised for some very understandable reasons. It is true that the character's actions in that movie are very inconsistent, and I do wish they had not had a Goblin character so soon after the first movie was all about the Green Goblin. But as a whole, that movie's story is not the worst. It just really suffers from inconsistency and dark Spider-Man coming off as really more of a jerk than any true definition of villainous, but well, nothing to do about it now. The Spider-Man movies themselves have been completely rebooted. This past weekend, I was helping out my Natural History Museum with their Archaeology and Earth Science event day, where we do that about 2 or 3 times a year. We have a few people managing up sample tables around the exhibit galleries. Each department, the vertebrate paleontology, the archaeology, the mineralogy, and geology. Are those 2 different departments? I don't think so. I think they're all under geology. The live animal exhibits, the invertebrate paleontology. All of them. So all of the departments get their own table, and they're set up around the museum where you would run into the exhibits most relevant to theirs, and we have a few people managing each one. So the researchers and some of the volunteers will cycle in and out, each do a couple hours, or I've sometimes been stuck going 4 hours straight. I usually help out with the vertebrate paleontology, and I've done geology and invertebrate paleontology, which are kind of the fields I help around with. I've volunteered in others in the past. I know this seems unrelated, but the point is, well, first of all, so that was last Saturday, the 13th, of October, and that day was a blast, but it pretty much blew the whole Saturday. I had to spend Sunday kind of getting things in order for my day. On Monday, my brother had off of school, and so we wanted to spend time together, and so we went to see the Venom movie. That's how it's kind of related. So we both went into the movie having really no idea of what to expect. Neither of us are huge comic book followers. We'll get a couple here or there. I bought the General Grievous comic from 2005 after the Council Force Cast, who is now, they have a Fanalysis channel, after they so highly recommended the comic, with good reason. It is really good. My brother was into Deadpool for a while. He was the reason we went to go see Deadpool 2. I'm actually holding on to his comics for him because he's very, very busy with, he wrestles for his high school, and he has a job now at an ice cream shop. Is his first job. It's very interesting. I did visit him once. He's seems very good at it, but I got some Jurassic Park comics as a either birthday or Christmas present. I think birthday present some years ago. And I've started collecting Star Wars books and comics, along with some others that I can get. I have a small manga collection as well. I do love manga. And by the way, to all the girls who are really into manga but think guys' comic books are so geeky, which I think is a percentage of the population that's slowly shrinking, but just want to say, manga are comic books. They're just a slightly different style. They are comic books. Anyway, so we both went into this movie knowing a little bit about, we did see the Spider-Man films, more for the action than any real Spider-Man fan, being more for the action than for being Spider-Man fans or any superhero fans. I was into Superman when I was like 5 years old, but as soon as Jurassic Park came out, it was pretty much dinosaurs first. The point is, we knew a little bit about the characters, read a little bit about the character Venom, so we kind of know roughly where the character's ideas came from, but really no idea what to expect. And the film had, from the review scores we skimmed through before going, very mixed perspectives on its quality. So we went to the theater on Monday, which was a bargain Monday. We got tickets for only $5, which is really nice. And it's better than I thought it could get. I know I just said went into there with no expectations, but you're kind of prepared for it to bomb, and when it doesn't, you say, well, that was better than I thought it could very well have been. And it's an interesting movie. It was good enough for us to walk out at the end feeling we have not wasted our time. Like I felt it every single live-action Transformers movie, or Logan, or The Dark Knight Rises. Those were... I was pulling my hair out just to try to tolerate them. This is not a hero film, as Venom is not a heroic entity in this movie. In fact, he's considerably scarier than the Venom symbiote was in Spider-Man 3. I would say I kind of prefer this take on Venom as a concept, although it's really not all that different. It's an alien symbiote that crashes to Earth and attaches to human hosts. It attaches to more than one human host, and one of them is Eddie Brock. That is true to the comics. From the little bit I read on what the comics have about Venom. He's not really a villain either in this movie. He does have an altruism of some kind. Very dicey, unpredictable kind, but an altruism of some kind. He's not there just to take over the host. We'll work with them if they don't... the symbiotes will work with the human hosts and not kill them if the human hosts, or any of the hosts, we see them experimenting with animals. It's a complicated story, and I don't want to spoil it too much, but they'll work with them if they don't try to resist them too much. And we see very entertainingly in the last scene in particular, they can form a type of mutual symbiosis. I guess Venom would be an anti-villain, which I think is a kind of a villain, but one with some morals and will work against other villains. I think that's really the best way to describe him. Anti-villain, more of an alien monster than anything else. So, and Venom, I guess Eddie Brock is really the protagonist, but he merges so much with Venom by the end that they kind of are one merged entity more than two different personalities anymore. It's weird. It's weird. It's an interesting take. It's more interesting than good. I guess that's the way to put it.